Hey, Mrparka here to review one from I think it's Worldwide Multimedia, and it is Serial Killer's Revenge. Now this cover art would make you think that this is going to be some sort of a semi-hardcore horror movie, but it is definitely not that. As it looks like a hardcore horror movie, it's more of kind of like your British thriller, but more so even a drama, emotional piece. It kind of feels like a good Lifetime movie. I must admit, though, at the first hour, I really hated all the characters. I wanted to punch them all in the face. But by the end of the movie, I actually enjoyed some of the characters, and I understood what they were doing. The ending, though, it is kind of it's not necessarily a surprise. You probably should guess it coming. I guess it gets obvious towards the middle of the movie what's going to happen, or not super obvious, but it hints at it, and you will understand what is probably going to happen. But this film follows a story about a serial killer who is 12 years old. He's not a serial killer, but he's 12 years old, and he murdered his parents, and his little 3-year-old brother disappeared. And he basically keeps quiet about the whole incident and goes and serves 30 years in prison. Gets out, contacts a reporter, and tells him, "I want to tell you the story of what really happened." Of course, he starts doing all these mind games, and it gets really repetitive. He wants to commit suicide. There's these weird segments in where the serial killer seems to be talking to himself in some sort of talk show scenario where he's dissecting suicide and how the body fights back to prevent it. There's a couple interesting things in here, but I think the whole cat and mouse to me was just kind of repetitive. I was like, they're going to do this and this and this. But by the end of the movie, I found myself actually thoroughly thinking it was a pretty good movie, and I felt emotionally impacted by it. It's not real. It looks very false advertised, if you would say. Not necessarily false advertised, just maybe misleading for a lot of people. But it turns out to be a decently acted, well, I'd say well acted, decently made, emotional movie. It's not necessarily like a horror movie, and I guess I wouldn't even say really a serial killer. But there's also some obvious punishing oneself in here as well, which will lead you to believe one thing or another. Kind of make the killer seem even more creepy than he actually may be. But, like I said, there's also this turmoil between a relationship between the reporter and his wife, and that got old for me, I think. I just was very annoyed at that whole scenario. But it's a really well-made movie. This is, the second British movie I've seen like this that I put it in, and I thought it was going to be this, like, hardcore horror movie, and it turns out to just be this, like, kind of thriller, emotional roller coaster that was well-made. The same goes for the movie Abducted, which I was really surprised by. But Serial Killer's Revenge, check it out if this sounds like it's up your alley. There'll be a couple clips here and there, but don't expect some giant horror gore fest or anything with a title. The back, doesn't really, I don't think, well, the reviews on here really don't put that it is like that type of film, but, some people will think different if they pick this up, but I'd say check it out if that sounds like it's up your alley. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good one.
I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for being late.
It's fine.
It's just work,
Whatever.
I need to do some research still, so I'm gonna go up into Soph's room, okay?
No way.
Why not?
Soph's asleep.
So?
So don't be so selfish.
I'm always quiet.
I don't care, Ryan. You should have brought your laptop home.
You were the one who wanted to put a computer in the kids' room.
Not the point, Ryan. You were at work all day. Is that not enough?
This is for this story, it's really important.
I don't care, Ryan. I just don't care. You're not going into Sophie's room, and that is the end of it. What do you think you're doing?
What?
Don't you dare.
I'm cool. I can do what I want to do in my own life.
You're selfish.
Selfish? How am I selfish? This is my life too, I in this house and I can't do anything I want to do. No one else I know has to ask to do what they want to do. They just do it.
People do not have children.
Yes, they do. Of course they do. I had a dad too, remember? Up until a couple of months ago. I never stopped him from doing anything. I mean, is that it? You have kids and your life is over. I mean, fuck me. What was the hell in the point in having them? What was the fucking point?
I can't believe.
I didn't mean it, okay? I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, okay? Look, I'll go. All right, I'm sorry. Karen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, when people are found hanging, there is obviously massive trauma to the neck and this region around here, as this ends up supporting the full weight of the body.
That's very, very interesting. In closely studying suicides by hanging, what else have you discovered?
Something myself and other medical professionals have noticed is that almost all coroner reports include the fact that there are always small cuts on the front and sides of the neck. An examination of the deceased's hands will reveal matching skin under their fingernails.
And what is it that you can now conclude from this evidence?
Well, I can conclude that regardless of the fact that it was a calculated decision, obviously suicide has to be, and that struggling just delays death, therefore increasing the suffering, regardless of that, as soon as the noose tightens, the hands begin to fight the action.